I trusted my brother's wife with my kid, then found a bruise and a confession that changed everything. Hi, I'm Thomas, 35, and last year my daughter came home from her aunt's house with bruises and a story that shattered everything I thought I knew about my own family. She said, "Aunt Valerie hit me because I got a better grade than Liam." She was 7. I didn't say anything. I just picked up my keys and drove her to urgent care. That night was the end of peace and the beginning of war. I used to think I could read people, that I could tell when someone was fake, when a smile had fangs hiding behind it. But Valerie, my brother's wife, fooled me for years. She'd mastered the art of the high-functioning family woman. Big smiles at birthdays, over-the-top Christmas gifts, always asking about work or how my daughter Mia was doing in school. She was efficient, choreographed, like she practiced family, and I ignored the static underneath. The way her face twitched when Mia talked about her science fair. The way she always had a correction when Mia said something smart. But I chalked it up to awkwardness. Valerie's son Liam, he's a sweet kid. Not exactly school inclined, but into bikes and Roblox and things that don't come with a grade. Still, Valerie had this tension every time Mia shined. I think, deep down, she saw my daughter's intelligence as a threat. Like every quiz, Mia aced made Liam look worse. There was no competition. Not from Mia, but Valerie made it one. Then came that Tuesday. I was running late after work, and I asked my brother Chris if Mia could stay with them for a couple hours. No big deal, they lived close, and Mia had been over a dozen times before. When I picked her up, she looked distant, tired. She didn't say much, just held the sandwich I brought her like it was made of glass. She said she was just tired. Back home, she headed to the bathroom to shower. That's when I saw it, just a glimpse of her side where her shirt lifted. A bruise, deep purple, ugly. I asked her what happened. Her face froze. Then the tears came, and the story followed. She'd gotten a 98 on her science quiz and showed it to Liam. He made a joke about how he'd never get that kind of grade. Mia laughed nervously, not mocking him, just trying to keep it light. Valerie saw and snapped, told Mia not to act like she was better than anyone. Then, when Mia went to grab her backpack, Valerie followed her and hit her out a slap. Not a push, a hit. I didn't yell. I didn't speak. I just told Mia to grab her things, and we drove to urgent care. They documented everything. The bruise, her statement. The nurse made a call while we were in the waiting room. Before we left, the report was already filed. I didn't answer when Chris called 5 times that night. I sat in the kitchen reading the discharge notes while Mia slept in her room. Suspected non-accidental injury, and I knew right then, this wasn't going away. This wasn't being forgiven. Valerie had laid her hands on my kid, and I was going to end her. The next morning, I didn't waste time calling Chris. I called a lawyer. Her name was Dana Marks, a hurricane in a pantsuit. She listened without interrupting while I told her everything. Valerie, the quiz, the bruise, the urgent care visit. Then she asked me one question. Do you want to press charges? Yes. God, yes. I wanted Valerie prosecuted. I wanted a record with her name on it. I wanted the system to see what I had let slip through for years. Dana didn't flinch. We met that afternoon. She laid out the plan, formal statement from Mia, CPS involvement, restraining order prep, full investigation. She told me it would get ugly, that some of my family might turn, but she also said this wasn't her first case like this. That scared me more than anything, because it meant women like Valerie weren't rare. That night, I finally answered one of Chris's calls. I told him to come over, alone. He showed up looking wrecked. Same hoodie from yesterday, eyes rimmed red. He sat at the table like we were just gonna talk about football. I handed him a copy of the urgent care report. He scanned it. Stopped at suspected child abuse. His hands trembled. She must have fallen or something, he mumbled. You know how kids are. They get bruised. Maybe she cut him off. She told me, Chris, word for word, your wife hit her because she got a better grade than Liam. He went quiet, pale, then angry. Not at Valerie but at me. You're seriously calling the cops on family? You're blowing this out of, they're already involved, I said. It's not up to me anymore. He left without another word. 2 days later, CPS showed up. Routine home check. Mia talked to the caseworker alone in her room. I stood in the hallway, pretending to scroll my phone, while every nerve in my body wanted to kick down the door and hold her. Afterward, the caseworker told me Mia's account was clear, consistent, and deeply concerning, but the real crack in the dam came a week later. Dana called me, voice tight with adrenaline. Another parent had reached out. Her daughter used to be in the same tutoring group as Liam. She'd come home once with a bruise, said she was playing too loudly, and Liam's mom got mad. They never went back. The mom didn't report it because she didn't think anyone would believe her. Now, she wanted to testify. It wasn't just about Mia anymore. Valerie had a pattern, and I was going to expose every piece of it. The day Valerie got interviewed by police, she acted like it was a brunch invitation, claimed she had no idea what they were talking about, said Mia must have misunderstood. Then she flipped it, accused me of poisoning my daughter against her out of jealousy. Jealousy of what, exactly? Her beige throw pillows and the permanent scowl she wore like mascara? Dana wasn't fazed. She said, let her lie. We've got evidence. We've got pattern. And then the universe handed us a gift. Chris's mother-in-law, Valerie's own mom, called me. She was shaking on the phone. Said she'd had a weird conversation with Valerie, that her daughter had basically admitted it. Not in a courtroom confession kind of way, but one of those self-justifying, passive-aggressive, I had to teach the girl a lesson type of things. She recorded part of it. Dana played it back twice, and nearly smiled. We filed for a restraining order immediately. It was granted. Valerie was legally barred from being anywhere near Mia, or me, or our house. Liam, fortunately, couldn't come over anymore either. That broke my heart. He was innocent in all of this. But I wasn't taking chances. I had one job: protect Mia. No exceptions. Chris finally called me again. Not to apologize. To tell me that Valerie was lawyering up. She says Mia made it up for attention, he said quietly. I didn't yell, didn't scream. I just said, then be careful which side you pick. Because this time, I'm not backing down. It didn't stop there. Word was spreading. One of Mia's friend's moms called me out of the blue. She said she wasn't surprised. That she'd had her own daughter come home from a sleepover crying after being scolded for laughing too loud. No bruises, just fear. She'd let it go back then. But now, she was ready to speak up. Dana took her statement. Then another parent came forward. She had kept a journal, dates, quotes, details. Her daughter had said Valerie was mean, not like pretend mean, real mean. Dana called it gold. And then the state attorney called. Said they were taking the case. With the urgent care report, the witness statements, the recorded phone call, and now, this growing chorus of silent victims stepping into the light. It wasn't just child endangerment. They were adding charges: cruelty to a minor, pattern of emotional abuse, malicious intent. Words that made me sick to hear, even though they were the ones I'd fought to make real. I didn't want to hear them because they belonged near my daughter's name, but I needed to hear them because Valerie had fooled everyone for years, and I was going to make sure her final performance ended in a courtroom. Court day, technically, just a preliminary hearing. Nothing final. But the tension in that room? You'd think it was a murder trial. Valerie arrived like she was walking a red carpet, heels, sleek ponytail, crisp blazer. She looked calm. Worse, she looked confident. Like the whole thing was a misunderstanding that would be brushed away with a few dramatic sighs and a well-timed tear. Chris sat on the opposite side of the courtroom, alone, hands folded, staring at the floor like it had answers. I sat next to Dana. I wasn't nervous. I was burning. Valerie's lawyer, some aging Armani suit with a voice like a podcast ad, tried to get the felony charge dropped immediately. Exaggeration, he said. A one-time disciplinary misstep. She was under stress. Dana didn't even blink. The prosecutor laid it all out: Mia's bruise, the urgent care report, the other mothers, the audio of Valerie saying she taught the girl a lesson. Valerie rolled her eyes. And then it happened. The moment that cracked the courtroom like a lightning strike. The prosecutor stood up and said, "We have new evidence. Just authenticated this morning. Security footage taken from inside the defendant's home." Dana leaned in. What? I leaned in too. From where? Turns out Chris had forgotten about an old hallway camera. One of those indoor pet monitors they installed 2 years ago to keep an eye on the dog and Liam when they weren't home. He mentioned it during his second police interview, didn't think it mattered. Police subpoenaed the footage anyway. It mattered. They pulled up a still on the court screen. Not graphic, not violent, but damning. Grainy shot of Valerie cornering Mia in the hallway. Mia's body against the wall. Valerie's arm raised. The angle of it. The expression. You didn't need to see the hit. You felt it. Then came the audio. Just a few seconds. Valerie's voice. Don't you ever walk around here bragging again. That wasn't discipline. That was venom. That was power. Valerie's face drained. Her lawyer jumped up so fast his chair screeched. He tried to object, but the prosecutor stayed cool, said the footage had been authenticated minutes before the hearing and was now legally admissible. Valerie cracked. Right there. It was out of context. She snapped. Then louder. I didn't mean to hurt her. The judge warned her to stay silent. Her lawyer grabbed her arm. She shook him off and blurted, I was just trying to get her to stop acting like she was better than Liam. The room went still. Dana slid me a note. She just confessed. The judge rescheduled for formal arraignment. He extended the restraining order and added an additional charge, intentional harm to a minor. Valerie didn't walk out looking smug anymore. She looked like someone who just realized the mask had finally fallen off. After that hearing, the floodgates opened. Chris's aunt hugged me in the parking lot, said she'd always suspected something was off about Valerie, but didn't want to rock the boat. I didn't say anything. What was there to say? The boat had already sunk. Back home, Mia was watching cartoons, curled up with her sketchpad like nothing had happened. That's when Chris called. I almost didn't answer, but something told me to. He didn't yell, didn't defend her, didn't even say hi. Just, I think she hurt Liam too. Silence. I had to sit down. He went on. 2 nights before, he'd heard Valerie talking on the phone with her sister. She thought he was asleep, she said. She should have hit Mia harder if she knew it'd cause this much drama. Then she laughed. Then he said the thing that broke him. She called it discipline. Chris told me he sat in the hallway for an hour after that, staring at the floor, remembering things. The way Valerie talked about Liam like he was a checklist. The way she'd dismiss his tears. The time Liam got a C on a math quiz and Valerie made him sit at the table for hours until he earned his dinner. Then came the final blow. He went through Valerie's desk that morning and found Liam's notebook. It was full of rules. Not ones from school. His own, handwritten in shaky pencil. Don't make mom mad. Don't show bad grades. Don't talk too much. Don't cry when she's angry. Then the last one, if she yells, smile fast so it stops. Chris choked up reading it. I just sat there, gripping the counter sick. That night, I couldn't sleep. Mia woke up once, came into my room with her blanket. She didn't say anything, just climbed in next to me and held on. She was safe, finally, but Liam wasn't. Not yet. The next morning, Chris called CPS himself, told them everything, said he was moving out, sending Liam to stay with his parents, that he didn't care how bad it looked, he wasn't going to protect Valerie anymore, and when the charges came down, they came hard. 2 counts of child endangerment, 1 felony, 1 misdemeanor, and now, an additional count of psychological abuse to a minor. They arrested Valerie at her home. She was barefoot, wearing one of those good vibes only shirts. She looked confused, like she couldn't believe the show was finally over. CPS filed an emergency petition not just to protect Mia, but Liam, too. I hadn't asked for that. They did it because they saw the same pattern. That was the moment I knew this was bigger than Mia's bruise. This was about every child who'd ever been taught to fear love in their own home. And the trial hadn't even started. The trial began in February. Dana said, "This won't be clean. It's not TV drama. It's slow, it's brutal, and it cuts deep." She wasn't lying. Valerie came in each day looking like a Pinterest board on courtroom chic soft sweaters. Natural makeup, even glasses, like she was playing the role of a martyred school librarian. Her lawyer kept pushing the narrative. Stressed mom. Misunderstood intent. No history of abuse. Just a bad moment taken out of context. But context? That hallway footage was the context. We played the full clip. The grainy shot. Mia against the wall. Valerie, closing in, voice dripping with cold control. "Stop walking around like you're better than Liam. even without the actual strike caught on camera. The jury saw the venom in her eyes. The intent. Then came the notebook. Chris took the stand and handed it over himself. He read the rules aloud. Rule 6, if she's mad, don't speak. Rule 8, hide bad grades. Rule 12, don't cry. Crying makes it worse. When he got to that last line, his voice cracked. The courtroom was dead silent. Valerie's lawyer tried to dismiss it. Kids write dramatic things. Doesn't prove abuse. Enter Dr. Howard, child psychologist. He didn't raise his voice. Just explained how children living with consistent fear develop survival behaviors. Rules like Liam's weren't dramatic. They were defense mechanisms. Evidence of long-term emotional trauma. Valerie wouldn't even look up. Then came Mia's recorded statement. She never cried. She was calm. Almost too calm. She talked about her science quiz. About how proud she was. How she wanted to show Liam. And how it changed in seconds. How Valerie told her she was rubbing it in. How that wasn't the first time, just the first time it left a bruise. You could hear a juror sniffle. Then Dana dropped the hammer. A text message. Months old. From Valerie. Sent to another parent. If parents don't discipline their kids, someone has to. Kids today are too soft. Even her tone in that message felt cruel. Chris testified again. Said he didn't see it until it was too late. That he'd ignored red flags. That he believed Valerie over his gut. Over Liam. Over me. When asked if he believed Mia, he looked at the jury just for a second and said, "Yes, I believe her. I just wish I had sooner." The prosecutor didn't go for theatrics in closing. They used one word over and over. Pattern. A pattern of control. Of cruelty. Masked as parenting. And it had gone unchecked for years. They asked for 10 years. No parole before 6. Permanent restriction from being near any child. Valerie's lawyer asked for probation. The judge didn't need long. 10 years. No parole before 6. 5 years probation after. And a permanent ban from working with, living with, or even babysitting minors. Valerie didn't cry. Didn't flinch. Just blinked. Like it was happening to someone else. As they cuffed her. I didn't cheer. I didn't feel victorious. I just looked at Mia sitting beside me, drawing in her sketchpad. She looked up and whispered, "So, we're safe now?" And for the first time in a year, I'd say, yes. Thanksgiving came and went. Just me and Mia that year. No big table, no cousins, no background noise of football, and forced politeness. I roasted a chicken because we both agreed turkey is overrated. We played board games on the floor. She beat me 3 times in a row. It was quiet. And it was perfect. 2 weeks before Christmas, my phone lit up with a name I hadn't seen since the sentencing. Chris. He'd only texted me once since the trial. "Thank you for protecting Liam too." I didn't respond. I didn't know how. But now, he was calling, asking if we'd come to his parents' house for dinner. Just us. No cousins, no aunts. No Valerie's ghost hanging in the air. Just a quiet meal. He said Liam had been asking about Mia, that he missed her. I hesitated. Mia didn't. She said yes before I finished explaining. So we went. Chris answered the door himself. He looked different. Older, yeah. Tired, but lighter. Like he'd finally stopped holding his breath. Liam ran into the living room the second he saw Mia and wrapped her in a hug that lifted her off the ground. They vanished down the hallway a second later, probably to talk about Minecraft or volcanoes or whatever their secret world was. Chris and I sat in the living room. His parents brought tea, then gave us space. He didn't circle around it. "I failed them," he said quietly. "I failed both of them." He told me how he used to brush things off. How Valerie's anger seemed manageable. How he believed her when she said Liam was too sensitive. That Mia was dramatic. That I was overprotective, he remembered. The time Valerie made Liam sit at the table for hours after a bad quiz. No dinner, just a pencil and a cold plate. "I knew it was wrong," he said, "but I let it happen. I didn't stop her." Then he looked up at me with something raw in his face and said the one thing he hadn't until now, "You saved both of them." I didn't cry. I didn't have tears left. It felt heavier than that. Like a weight I'd been carrying suddenly had company. After dinner, Liam showed us a drawing he made in therapy, him and Mia standing next to a huge red volcano, smiling. Chris smiled too. Apparently, she's the reason he wants to start doing better in school. Before we left, He walked us to the car. Frost on the windshield, air like glass. He looked at Mia, then at me. Believe her, he said. Every word. I just wish I had believed her sooner. Mia didn't say anything. She didn't need to. She just slipped her hand into mine, and we went home. We didn't talk about Valerie after that. Not because we were avoiding it. We just didn't need to. Mia had found something better than justice. She had peace. She started sleeping through the night again, smiling more, drawing again, not just volcanoes and cats and glasses, but entire scenes. Libraries, spaceships, coral reefs with entire backstories. She'd narrate them out loud as she colored, like she was rebuilding her own world one marker at a time. She even asked if she could start going back to science club after school. I nearly choked up right there. I said, of course, but only if you promise not to score higher than the entire school and start some kind of educational feud. She smirked. Can't make that promise. Spring came. The air got softer. I got an email from the DA's office about the restitution hearing. Valerie had no assets left and zero intention of paying. Dana called to ask if I wanted to pursue it anyway. I didn't. I'd gotten what I needed. Meanwhile, Mia's school counselor told me she was thriving, reading above grade level, volunteering to help the younger kids, even asked to run a book club. When the counselor asked her why, she apparently said, because books helped me when things were scary. Maybe they can help other kids, too. I had to sit in my car for 20 minutes after that to collect myself. And Liam? He was doing better too. Chris said he was in therapy, taking it seriously. Said he still flinched sometimes when doors slammed too hard. But he didn't keep rule books anymore. He kept sketchpads. He and Mia started writing stories together, apparently. Comic strips about two cousins who fight dragons and build inventions out of toasters. One day, Chris sent me a photo of them sitting side by side on the living room floor, drawing. He didn't caption it. He didn't need to. Then came summer. Mia and I went on our first trip together since everything. Just the two of us. Rented a tiny cabin near a lake. I brought books and board games. She brought a magnifying glass and a backpack full of field research tools she built out of duct tape and cardboard. One night, as we sat by the fire, she looked up and asked, "Do you think Liam's okay?" "I think he's getting there," I said. She nodded. "I hope he knows it's not his fault." She was 7, and she had more empathy in her than most adults I've ever met. We watched the stars in silence for a long time. Then she asked if we could come back next year. I said, "We can come back every year if you want." She grinned. "Good. I want to make this our place." And just like that, the last of it cracked off my chest. The fear, the rage, the guilt. Not because it was gone, but because it didn't own us anymore. Valerie was behind bars. Chris was rebuilding. Liam was healing. And Mia? She was free. Free to be smart. Free to be loud. Free to laugh without flinching. Free to exist without shrinking herself for anyone else's comfort. And me? I finally got to be the dad I thought I was. The one she deserved all along. The one who didn't just protect her from the world, but gave her the whole damn thing back. One sketch. One quiz. One brave little voice at a time.